Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Amidst the Israel-Palestine conflict, a political war is also on in India, with Modi government's stand being debated. Just after the October 7 attacks by Hamas in Israel, the Indian government had issued an official statement which condemned the terror attack and extended support to Israel. This move has now once again irked the opposition parties, especially the INDIA bloc. DMK's controversial parliamentarian A. Raja stated that Palestine is an oppressed nation and supporting them was the right thing to do. While addressing a gathering of NCP workers, Sharad Pawar also claimed that all former Prime Ministers of India have taken a firm stand supporting Palestine, and PM Modi has decided to do exactly the opposite of this now, that he is not addressing the real issue. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma of the BJP took a jibe at senior Pawar and stated that it seems like Sharad Pawar will send his daughter Supriya Sule to Gaza to fight for Hamas. Even Union Minister Piyush Goyal criticized the comments and asked the opposition netas to leave behind their, quote, rotten mindset. Now, if you take a look back, India has always played a proactive role in garnering support for the Palestinian cause in multilateral fora. But in recent years, India has also forged a deep friendship with Israel. In fact, under Prime Minister Narsimha Rao, India revived its relationship with Israel and under Narendra Modi has taken it forward. In other words, while India has not abandoned the cause of the Palestine state, it has dehyphenated its relationship with that cause and with the state of Israel. And it's not a matter of surprise that India unequivocally condemned the terror attacks on October 7, where over 200 people were abducted by the Hamas terrorists, and now, by latest count, 1,400 people, 1,400 Israelis were killed. Now let me ask you this, looking at the conditions and the time, the brutality of the Hamas attack, is there any other stand that India could have taken? Who should India support in this? Is there even a question of where India should stand? And are opposition parties deliberately using the Palestine cause to obfuscate from the question of Hamas and its terror? We take that question to our guests in just a bit, but first up, let me break down some of the statements between both of these sides. The India bloc parties and BJP have been sparring over India's stance, and this is what both sides have been saying. The opposition bloc has said that India has always supported Palestine. They are not quite liking the fact that the Indian Prime Minister has not mentioned Palestine so far, at least in his initial condemnation, while the BJP says that it's preposterous statements made by the opposition on India's stand. Opposition says that support the country that is oppressed, which is Palestine, according to them. BJP says that the menace of terrorism also needs to be condemned. India Alliance has taken the line that, which is the Arab line, that Israel is an outsider that encroached on the Palestinian land. BJP sought to remind them of their past and their stand on terror, saying that UPA government had shed tears on the Batla House encounter. Former Prime Ministers supported the Palestine cause is what the opposition says. So there should be no departure from that. UPA government slept amidst terror attacks on Indian soil is what the BJP's counter has been. Now, Shiv Sena Uddhav faction even went on to say that BJP is no less than Hamas. So it's a little confusing because it seems like they recognize Hamas and Hamas terror and are equating it with the BJP. But for some reason, they're unwilling to condemn Hamas as far as an attack on Israel is concerned. BJP's Piyush Goyal, as I said, has gone on to say that this is a rotten mindset that needs to stop. But this isn't just what has happened. Remember, this whole back and forth has been going on since the initial October 7 attack. In fact, the Congress party found itself in some confusion over what their statement should be, what their stand should be. Take a look at how both the Congress and the left reacted initially in their statements. So the Congress Working Committee's resolution said, we support rights of Palestinians to land, self-government and more. The left statement also said that Israeli aggression by the right-wing Netanyahu government is responsible for this situation. While the Congress resolution said that we support rights of Palestinians to live with dignity and respect, the left said that we call for immediate ceasefire and negotiations. Remember, this was happening right after the October 7 attack. There is no mention of Hamas for either of them. The Congress said that there should be a call for negotiations and for ceasefire, that Israel has killed over 200 Palestinians this year. So while they talked about that, they did not really talk about the October 7 attacks where now 1,400 Israelis have been killed, while the left said that Israel is the aggressor as far as this conflict is concerned. And for them, this line is very, very clear, regardless of what attack took place on October 7. It's interesting to note, and this is why I said that the Congress did find itself between a rock and a hard place, because there were many people within the Congress Working Committee who allegedly did not agree with this statement, and the Congress later came out, some of their leaders later came out to do some sort of damage control and added that it does condemn the October 7 attack by Hamas terrorists. The question we ask today is simply this: there is so much politics going on over the Indian government stand, but is there room for politics on this issue when we talk about terror? Whose side should India be on?
இஸ்ரேல் இந்தியா எப்போதும் ஆதரிக்கவில்லை. பாலஸ்தீனத்தை ஆதரித்திருக்கோம். எந்த நாடு ஒடுக்கப்படுகிறதோ அந்த நாட்டை ஆதரிப்பதுதான் நேர்மையான வழிமுறை.
मेरा लगता है शरद पवार जी सुप्रिया मैडम को भेजेगा गाजा में हमास के लिए लड़ने के लिए.
I'm surprised because Himanta Biswa Sarma ji has the same DNA as me. He's an original Congressi. So he and me share the same DNA. After going to the BJP, you know how disrespectful they are about women.
Hello, Moto.
Let's go across to the guest joining us. Sidharth Yadav is joining us from the BJP. KJ Josumon is an NCP leader from the Sharad Pawar faction as it stands today. Krishna Hegde is the Shiv Sena spokesperson of the Shinde faction. And CS Jha is Shiv Sena UBT leader. I do thank all of you for your time. KJ Josumon, I want to understand from you, because Sharad Pawar's statement is being debated quite a bit, and it seems to have rallied one more opposition against the government stand. What is fundamentally the problem in what the government has said? They have condemned Hamas terror. Why is the NCP so much up in arms against the government stand today?
Let me state one thing before answering your question. The Assam Chief Minister says, let Supriya Sule go there and fight for Hamas. See, BJP and its people have taking down the political discourse in the country. There is a political stand. We may have differences of opinion, but why should this kind of statement comes up personally attacking? See, I'm coming to your question.
Yes. I'll take your point to the BJP spokesperson. You have a valid point to raise on that issue. I'll take your point to the BJP spokesperson, but let's come back to my question.
Your question. Prime Minister says he is with Israel.
Yes.
And Indian External Affairs spokesperson Arinda Bakshi says India with the right cause of the Palestinian people.
Right.
Now you tell me, which is the official stand of the government?
But do you not understand the nuance in that? In fact, I didn't think I had to explain it, but do you not understand the nuance in that? India has a relationship with Israel. Israel came under terrorist attack.
No,
India stands with Israel. But India has not, once again, let me finish. India has not abandoned the cause of the Palestinian state or the right of the Palestinian people. These two need not be hyphenated.
Then why Prime Minister is mum on that?
Mum on what?
Mum on the India's historical cause with the Palestinian people. He says, I am with Israel.
Yes, but what is the need to say that when it is Israel that has come under terror attack? Why do you want that statement when India has not changed its position? This is precisely fundamentally the question.
No. It's a kind of politicking here. It is kind of politicking here. India is the largest market of Israeli lies. And what about the Gaza? A small land strip is blockade for the last 6 years. It's against all international laws. And what happened to 1993 Oslo Accord, signed by an Israeli Prime Minister? And for signing the agreement, he was been shot. And what about Israeli terrorism? Every year, more than 200 people are being killed by Israeli forces in Palestine. So no word about that.
Okay,
so
I don't want to get into the... Once again, Mr. Josumon, I don't...
One second, let me complete. NCP is against all kind of bloodshed of innocent people. Whether it is in Palestine, whether it is in Manipur, whether it is in Samjhoda Express, whether it is in Makkah Masjid. Okay.
But what about Israel?
Opened his mouth.
But what about Israel? You know, you are talking about everything else, but respectfully,
Yeah,
you are not talking about the country that actually faced the worst terror attack in our history, at least since 9/11 as far as the world is concerned.
No, NCP is crystal clear that we are against all kind of innocent bloodshed. Okay.
Okay,
So
but
there
that
is no
doesn't mean
ambiguity
that you
about
have
that.
addressed the Israel issue. You're skirting around the Israel issue.
No, even Israel is there. If there is innocent bloodshed, that shall not be allowed.
So,
That cannot be allowed. It is deplorable.
so was there a statement to this kind made by the NCP that we condemn
No.
Hamas terror against Israel?
No, Sharad Pawar ji only stayed with the Palestinian cause. That is historically India government,
Precisely.
Indian Prime Minister,
Precisely.
and India's national leaders.
Okay, precisely. I understood your point. I understood your point. We've lost your video. We'll try and get that back. Now, this is precisely the issue. There are some parties that have chosen not to talk about Hamas and the attack on Israel, even though the trigger right now is this brutal, barbaric October 7 attack on Israel by Hamas terrorists. They've chosen not to address that issue. But the problem with the Indian government is that while you supported Israel, you did not mention the historical cause of Palestine, which is exactly the question I'm asking. How can you not mention Hamas, but then expect that the Indian government should do some equivalence as far as its statements is concerned? Then that equivalence should also come from you. There should also be unequivocal condemnation of the attack on Israel by Hamas terrorists. And Hamas terrorists must be called Hamas terrorists.
Every drop of innocent blood.
No, sir, not in generalities. No, I'm sorry, not in generalities. Was there a statement on the terror attack on Israel?
No, it was forced by the Palestinian
Exactly.
Israeli people, Israeli government.
You are obviously now
forced
giving
people
a
to react.
justification to the terror attack while you say we condemn
No,
all innocent bloodshed.
Because the Hamas, see, they are inciting some kind of violence. Israel is inciting some kind of violence. And you tell me who have created Hamas? Israeli government have created Hamas to undermine the PLO. They want it to convert it a political issue to a religious issue.
Okay.
So they have created Hamas.
Now that may be your opinion and the opinion of your party. You are free to hold that opinion, but you cannot say that the Indian government should hold that opinion and voice that opinion on the international stage. I think that's a little bit excessive.
The Indian Pradhan,
But let me take your point. Let me take your point to Sidharth Yadav.
Stick on with the Indian historical stand.
Yeah, historical stand, sir. History is not set in stone. History also evolves and changes, and the Indian government has been steadfast in its commitment. One second, sir. Sir, I would request you don't speak over me, then I will not speak over you. The Indian government has not in any way or manner abandoned its historical stance on the Palestinian cause. The External Affairs Ministry is very clear. In fact, the Indian Prime Minister did condemn the strike or the blast that took place in Gaza on that hospital, but it is unclear till today exactly who's to be blamed for that. And I don't think it's a fair expectation that the Indian Prime Minister should jump to conclusions when the world doesn't know facts about it. But let me take your point to Sidharth Yadav. Sidharth Yadav, please address first the question that Mr. Josimon raised on Himanta Biswa Sarma's statement. Is that the way a chief minister should respond, even if you disagree with the NCP leader Sharad Pawar? What was the need to bring in Supriya Sule? What was the need to make this personal?
Definitely, Shivani. I'll also respond to what my friend from NCP was saying about the historical stand that our country has taken. There is no change in any stand. There is no comment rather upon any change on the stand of Israel and Gaza or for Palestine. But we also have a very consistent stand against terrorism. And that is what all of our country has to unite against for. We are very consistent in our stand that any form of terrorism is bad. It is anti-humanity. There can be no good terrorism, no bad terrorism. And what happened on the 7th of October on Israel is very dangerous for the world. It was a barbaric attack which nobody can ever imagine. I think one of the worst attacks after the Holocaust which the Jews have ever seen. And if on that occasion, when a country sees that on a holy day of theirs, 5,000 rockets flying in, thousands of people dead, but then at that moment Sharad Pawar ji doesn't choose to speak. Why is that? What sort of politics is that? Why is he choosing to keep quiet on a terrorist attack on which the country is speaking? The only stand, the only thing I think which has changed from the past is whenever any prime minister, any government has taken any stance on such an issue, such a sensitive issue, the country has stood together. I asked today to Sharad Pawar ji and the entire opposition, why is it when the country and the prime minister is choosing to speak against the terrorism, they are choosing to stay quiet.
Okay.
They are
Can I
choosing
come in
to
now?
boycott. They are
Mr.
choosing not to
Yadav,
utter
the
a word.
fundamental
But
point.
then,
No, the fundamental point the opposition is making is you could have added a little bit about Palestine as well. You could have added that while India stands with the Palestinian cause, we condemn the terror attack that took place on Israel. That's the kind of statement the opposition would have been happier with. Your response on that?
we have already, Shivani, the spokesperson of the MEA made it very clear that India's stand on Israel and Palestine issue is the same, is as of the past. If a new issue comes up, if a new attack comes up, should India stay quiet? Today, India is in a position, on certain, we are holding certain responsibility in the world that when the world gets polarized, India comes up as a solution to the global problems. When we are a solution to the global problems in wars like Russia and Ukraine, where we are of the stand that we can speak things for humanity, which are just for the world, we can't choose to stay quiet for vote bank politics in the issue of Israel and Palestine.
So,
and that is what the Indian government has done.
It's a term
we
that
are
is often
anti-terrorism
used. It's a term that is often used. Basically,
And
maybe
just
the opposition
completely
wants that there should be some monkey balancing that should also happen. No cause of the Palestinian side is eroded if you don't mention it while condemning Hamas terror. But there's an expectation that you cannot condemn Hamas terror without also showing support to the Palestinian people. And I think that's where we've come at. This is not a problem that India is facing alone. This is a problem a lot of other countries are facing. Finish your point, but you didn't answer the question on Supriya Sule.
I'll just... Yes, I'll comment on that and I'll also answer the question. I think we should be very clear. To save Palestine, to stand with Palestine, we should eradicate Hamas. Hamas is sucking their resources, keeping them hostage. Hamas is the one which is the root cause of problems for Palestine. If the country is choosing to stand against terrorism, I think nobody should have an objection to, and that is what we are doing. When it comes down to the politics in this, I think Sharad Pawar ji, as I again said, should have taken up the responsibility of not going against the stand of the country, of not going in favor of the terrorists, because he comes from Maharashtra. We have seen in Mumbai, we have been on the receiving end of terrorism. We have seen what happened in 26/11.
You didn't answer my question on Supriya Sule. How long are you going to evade that? Is that the language that the Assam Chief Minister should have used?
No, Shivani, I'm coming to that. And when that happens, when we as a country are on the receiving end, such a leader comes out and says something which is so irresponsible, he should be ready to get a reply in a manner he understands. He should reply. He should understand it. He is not the one. We have been on the receiving end as Indians. Where was Sharad Pawar ji? It is just for the politics, just for the vote bank and nothing else. That today he has to come out and say such a statement and stand with terrorists. This should not happen.
General Dyer is justified than the victims of Jallianwala Bagh.
You're saying that
Sorry,
Israel...
I'm not able to hear you clearly.
You're saying Israel is General Dyer?
Yeah, of course.
Even in this case?
You are not seeing the atrocities in Middle East?
So is Israel to be blamed single-handedly for the atrocities?
You can't be drawing
Are you telling me that no rockets get fired from Palestine?
Shivani, can we come in, please?
Yes, I'll just come in. Mr. Krishna Hegde, I'll come to you in just a bit. Let me go across to CS Jha. CS Jha, I'm a little baffled by this statement. Sanjay Raut says BJP is like Hamas. What does that mean? Because they're not talking about Hamas. So I don't know where they stand on Hamas. But they're comparing BJP to Hamas. So are they saying BJP like Hamas is a terror group or a terror organization? And if they believe Hamas is a terror organization, then why do they have a problem with the condemnation of Hamas separated from the Palestinian people?
See, the actions in the past and in the present which have been taken up by BJP against the opposition leaders, so that comment pursues that they are comparing themselves to as Hamas. And any event, this is an international event, and it should be neutral and should watch whether this war is escalating or not, and it should help, right? Because what has happened there, that the casualty which has happened before yesterday is very mass, in nature, and you should see that such casualty should not happen at this moment.
Okay, sir, I'll come back to that question. But that wasn't my question to you. Sanjay Raut says the BJP is like Hamas. What does that mean? Is Hamas a terror group and therefore BJP is a terror group? Are you saying that?
BJP is acting in such a way that it has to be construed as Hamas.
How?
And you see what they are doing.
No, how can you say that?
They are.
Shivani, I object to that.
Yeah, I'll come to you, sir.
I'll come
to you, sir. Let him finish.
They are launching attacks through ED, CBI, income tax on the opposition leaders. There is no proof against the opposition leaders.
Are you seriously comparing the slaughtering and the massacre of 1,400 people in their houses, including the elderly and the children and the babies, to corruption cases being investigated against opposition leaders?
Massacre cannot be in the nature of only bloodshed. It can be in the nature of mental agony.
But are you seriously comparing the two?
Yes.
Are you seriously comparing the two? Are you seriously saying this is how a terror attack should be seen?
No, it is not a terror attack. It is basically a comparison with the Hamas. What Hamas has been doing and the BJP is doing in the country.
This is outrageous.
They are not speaking on Manipur. They are not speaking about the atrocities which is being continued between Hindu-Muslim. They are doing nothing. And they are targeting opposition leaders, and that is to be construed as a
Mr. Yadav, you can respond very quickly.
I think, Shivani, this is absolutely outrageous. How can the opposition stoop down to such a level? You are involved in corruption cases. Ministers after ministers are going to jail. Your ministers are enjoying with 100 crore rupees in cash on bed in Karnataka. And now you're telling us, because you're victims, now you want to compare yourselves as victims of a terror attack just to hide your corruption. Now you want to be victims of terror attacks. What is this comparison? First you do corruption, first you suck the resources of this country, and now you want to compare yourselves as babies who are being tortured, who are being killed.
You people are not commenting on money.
Mr. Jha, you had your turn. You had your uninterrupted turn. I would request you don't speak over the other guests. Mr. Yadav, I have 20 seconds for you. I have to go to Mr. Krishna as well. Please, 20 seconds.
No, I just complete, Shivani. I think I take serious objection of this. They are involved in corruption. We have seen a Karnataka minister with 100 crore rupees cash. He was dancing. He accepted. He is in the video. Ministers after ministers of Aam Aadmi Party going to jails. Now, since they are involved in corruption, they want to place themselves as victims of a terror attack. They want to place themselves as babies who are being killed, burnt. You want to do that? You have no remorse for Israelis, no remorse for anybody who's dying in the war.
No, I think
you are
it
the
is,
victim.
once again,
out of sudden.
Can I come
How
in?
is this comparison?
Can I just come in? I think it's in terrible taste to suggest that an ED case against you is the same as the slaughtering of 1,400 innocent civilians in Israel, and maybe the Shiv Sena should rethink. But Krishna Hegde, the point that I'm making is different. The point that I'm making is you are condemning Hamas, but only if you compare it to BJP. Otherwise, opposition parties don't want to talk about Hamas. They don't want to talk about Hamas terror. They want to focus on Palestinian cause, which is fine in its own right. But I don't understand. On one line, at one instance, you have hesitation to even talk about Hamas and address its atrocities. But you're very quick to compare it to a political party in India which is in power.
Shivani, firstly, let me tell you, we are the Shiv Sena, they are not the Shiv Sena.
Okay.
So any question directed is to Shiv Sena, they are the Uddhav Thackeray camp. Now a spokesperson from the Uddhav Thackeray camp, Mr. Sanjay Raut, compares the Hamas to the BJP. I think he's forgotten that 3.5 years ago, or 35 years, the same person was with BJP. Now, I think he's got insomnia. And all these spokespersons are talking like this. They don't even know what they are speaking. India has been a victim of terrorism time and over again, and we are one of the biggest sufferers of terrorist activities. And therefore, every leader in India should condemn terrorism. Now, Sharad Pawar Sahab is saying something, Congress leaders are saying something. This is the new East India Company. Don't call it the India Alliance or anything. This is the new East India Company, which is against Sanatan Dharma, which is against India, which is against Hindutva. And now they are talking in favor of Hamas. Why? Because of Muslim appeasement. 4 states are coming to elections and the Lok Sabha elections are due shortly. So now play the Muslim card.
Okay.
So people of India are not fools.
Can
They
I
go
just
through
come in?
your-
Can
Yeah,
I just
please,
come in?
please.
Actually, interestingly, as we're having this debate over the Indian government stance, we're getting updates that the Prime Minister has spoken to the President of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas. He has conveyed his condolences at the loss of civilian lives at the Al-Ahli hospital in Gaza and has also said that we will continue to send humanitarian assistance for the Palestinian people. This is the statement that has been released by the PMO. Shared our deep concern at the terrorism, violence and deteriorating security situation in the region, reiterated India's long-standing principled position on the Israel-Palestine issue, which is, of course, that we believe that the Palestinians have the right to their own state and dignity of life. Now, can I now go, Gauss, to our guest from the NCP? Are you happy now with the Prime Minister's statement?
Can I complete my statement? Can I complete my statement, Shivani?
Mr. Hegre, I'm coming back to you. Let me take a quick response from Mr. Josimon. Now, are you happy with what the Indian government is doing?
Yeah, the Indian government could have stated this statement earlier as well. And at the same time, if our government is committed to the solving the issue of Middle East, we would have taken a creative dialogue with the Israeli government. Because from 2014 onwards, you know what is happening in Gaza. What is
it's not
happening
in just
West Bank.
It's not just 2014. No, let's not start at 2014. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. You have to then. You're picking and choosing facts, Mr. Josimon. This is not what you should be doing in a conflict like this.
That is the reality. What happened to the Oslo Accord? Where in 4 years there would have been an independent Palestinian state and an Israeli state. They would not have any bloodshed. So Israel was preparing for this kind of, they are preparing state-sponsored violence, state-sponsored terrorism.
That point is fine, but please do not confuse what Hamas does as something that can be excused. It's the simple point that I am making. I have to be fair to Mr. Hegre. Mr. Hegre didn't get his time. Yes, Mr. Hegre, you may finish your statement.
Shivani, I must, say it's very commendable and appreciable of the Honorable Prime Minister for this gesture again. And India has always followed the non-alignment part, the middle part, which we've been doing for ages now. And again, we are seeing that, whether it's Russia or US or Ukraine, India is playing the role of a world leader, and our Honorable Prime Minister is now emerged as, big face among the world leaders. And if he is saying something to the Palestinians that we are there, we'll give you the aid required to, bring up your resources again. Similarly, we have an equal equation with the Israelis. And, now Sharad Pawar sahab, I don't think he's ever gone toward the Hamas area of Palestine, but he had gone so many times to Israel. I'm personally aware of that. And Israel has supported India in the agriculture, technology and all these places. So, we require Israel also for a lot of technology and the issues.
That's not a relevant question. I'm sorry. Let's stick to the...
Gentlemen, I don't know what you are talking only.
Let's stick to a proper debate, please. Let's not make this personal. You may have your opinions on what this conflict is, but let's understand that this is a complex conflict, and it's not like there were no rockets flying from Gaza by Hamas all of these years. They've also been doing this. There's a reason the Iron Dome exists. There's a reason the Terrorist security exists. Because they've been under constant attack too. Now you may want to defend it, I'm not going to defend it. And I'm not going to make excuses for terrorism.
Deliberate violation of international laws were also...
Yeah, there may be violence from both sides, but all I'm saying that accept that there is violence from both sides. Don't make it about one side alone. Then you're not being fair to the cause. I've run out of time.
He's interested in the Muslim votes. That's all he's interested in.
I've run out of time. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Of course, the situation on ground in Israel is also a matter of concern. And on the other side, we'll focus on that. Because after US President Joe Biden, UK PM Rishi Sunak was in Tel Aviv and he extended his support to Israel as well. We'll get you more in just a bit.
Hello, Moto.